Welcome back to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Today we're going to look at the Week 9 matchup for our teams, which this was one. It was one game that was glorious. Love to see. We'll get into all that. But first, how are you doing today, Lance?
Andrew, I'm doing well. We put up our Christmas tree yesterday. We are
Okay, beginning of
one of
November.
those one of those obnoxious beginning of November people. Um, in, in full disclosure, though, I'm going to take a trip to Oklahoma to go visit my family, and my son's coming with me. So this whole week is like out of the picture, not possible. So that's part of it. And then I'm
Yeah.
taking a work trip that it's going to be a week and a half that goes right into Thanksgiving, and then we're just going to go visit Sam's family after that. So that takes another
Okay.
2 weeks. And so it just works out better to do it now. Um, by the way, side note, Andrew, I don't know what happened with you and your kiddo, but whoever thought that daylight savings, the flipping of times forward and backwards, they're just cruel. There's no
I
point.
agree.
And
I agree.
for kids under the age of 8, it is just painful
Mm-hmm.
because they can't adjust to it. They're going to get up at the same time in their heads,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's just going to get less sleep. And yeah, it's just a silly tradition. I don't get it, man.
Yep. It needs to stop. We're talking to you, Trump. Cancel that weird stuff.
I don't know, man. It's silly. It's silly. That's all I
Mm-hmm.
can say. I don't understand it, but it's where we are. Oh well.
Yep, that's what it is. It's kind of like we're kind of on the different page where I don't really understand that J.R. Alexander trade. I think we should start with that. Let's start with your end. How are you feeling about that trade you guys did?
Well, I mean, I think it's to be fair. I think that we have to bring up that trade and also the Michael Carter trade,
Yes. Yes.
because I think that there's multiple angles these are looking at. Um, I also think this is a different side note, but um, it's connected to this. I think it was really important that Tank Bigsby had a big game before the trade
Mm-hmm.
deadline
That was huge.
because if he doesn't have a big game, I think it makes Howie a little more reserved
Hesitant.
because he's like, man, I've already made one really bad trade. Can I afford another really bad trade?
Mm-hmm.
And but the fact that Tank Bigsby had a big game helps to like I feel like it's like cleaning the slate. It's kind of like we can wipe it, we can let it go. It gives Howie some political capital to go out and make a trade, and the Eagles don't get much
Right.
pushback. So I think it was very important going into this stretch. And then um, they made a trade for Mike Carter from the New York Jets, which is a slot corner. He's traditionally a slot corner, so it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. I think what the Eagles are trying to do is they don't have an answer. They know they don't have an answer. So let's go ahead and get multiple potential options to help
Mm-hmm.
fill in the gap for
Mm-hmm.
an answer. And that makes sense to me. And I'm okay with that. That makes a lot of sense. Um, I understand where you're coming from on some of the feedback you gave, but if you need to move Cooper DeJean outside, have an option in slot corner to be able to potentially move him outside.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the other part I liked about the Carter move is that he has 2 years remaining on his contract after this year.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
love that
sense.
Carter move as well. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Like right now, I put it at a B because we don't know what type of player he's going to be, but the
Mm-hmm.
the thought process behind the trade. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't lose a pick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just so the listeners understand, when I say by lose a pick. The High Roseman philosophy is if you can lose draft position as opposed to losing a pick, give up
Mm-hmm.
draft position, not the pick. And the reason why is
Mm-hmm.
because you can always turn that seven into a sixth, into a fifth, um, by continuing to work its way back up. Whereas if you give up a pick, you can never regain that pick back unless you do something to in a trade to lose value somewhere. So I like that. I like that it was a sixth or a seventh in return for a sixth. That's not a big deal. Um, and so I think that's a good move to start out. They also got him last week, so he's gotten a little more time to adjust to the defensive scheme and look at
Right.
it, which will help for this Monday Night Football matchup. And then flipping over to Jair Alexander, um, like let's be real. Jair Alexander most likely doesn't have much left in the tank. That's why he signed a 1 year deal. One, it's why he struggled a little bit too. Um, so I think that this is a move where you just want to be sure that there's absolutely nothing left. And for
Hmm.
me, if you want to find out if there's absolutely nothing left, swapping you get a seventh, they get a sixth to find out is not a bad trade. Like that's not because a lot of people are referring this to a trade the Eagles made in 2023. What is his name? He used to play for the Chicago Bears. His name is slipping my mind. Uh, was it Jalen Carter? Why is it bringing up Jalen Carter? Um, oh man, his name just escaped my mind.
Hmm.
All right, I'm trying to look it up to make sure I remember it. Robert Quinn. There we go. The name was kind of come to me.
Okay.
And he was a guy that had a pretty solid career, but that season was bad. Like there was nothing left. And so, but they gave up a fourth round pick for him.
Hmm.
Like it was crazy value for someone that did not look like he had anything left in the tank. So that move was kind of like, I don't know what you're thinking, but you guys have been amazing this season, so go for it. And they were undefeated at that point when they made that trade. So the hype was very, very high for the Eagles. So, but when you look at the Alexander trade, I think it's a little different. The defensive ends for the Eagles weren't playing terrible at that point of the season. They were just trying to make an embarrassment of riches happen at defensive line because the Eagles actually almost broke the Bears sack record that year, which the Broncos are just absolutely obliterating past and look like they're on pace to
Hmm.
really, really do it. Um, but the Eagles' number two corner is not playing well, like at all. It's not going well. Um, do we play better against the Giants? Sure. I mean, I guess you could say that, but it was also the Giants who basically have Wandell Robinson and Theo Johnson as your main targets, and that's it. So I think it's smart for the Eagles to say, I think that's a little bit of a fraud matchup for Keely Ringo to look good. So I'm not going to believe that that's actually true. I'm going to go out and make a trade for somebody that at least has something, has shown something in the past for relatively cheap value. Because if you could only get let's say you could only get like a C cornerback for a sixth or seventh swap or a high D cornerback, and you could only get a C cornerback for like a third round pick. Like that's the range, right? Like you either go super expensive and get a little bit better value, or you go a little less expensive and get someone that is deemed to have no value but has shown something in the past. I understand why they made the trade. I don't think it's a big risk if it doesn't work out. I would probably say at this point it's a C plus trade. Like it's not one I would say is bad. I wouldn't say it's great. It's not going to save the season. I understand what they're doing. They just want options because they know they have a problem, and I give them credit. They're working to fix it.
Yeah, yeah, that's totally fair. I definitely agree with you with the thought process. Like you said, corner two has been a struggle, and throw in multiple darts at the dartboard to see if it sticks, see if it lands. But man, I just come back to struggle with trading for a corner that can't get on the field. He gets cut by his team, the Packers, because he couldn't get on the field. For one, he was injured a lot. And then he gets picked up on a very cheap deal by the Ravens. I think it was 1 year, 4 million, like something
Mm-hmm.
stupid cheap. And he can't get on the field. He can't get on the field for two organizations, and then you trade for him. I understand the seeing if there's anything left. And like you said, you didn't really trade anything for him. So I get that. I just wish it was someone with maybe a little bit more potential, someone who's playing a little bit more. But I do understand the thought process, trying to fix that position. My first thought was, why not try and make a splash move and go get Reek Woolen from the Seahawks? Because he's not playing much. He is obtainable. It might cost you like a three or maybe even like a 3-4 combo. But if you can get a Reek Woolen in that organization, now you're talking. I know it's going to cost you more, but I don't know. I wasn't sold on the move. I love the Marco Carter move because, like you said, you need a slot corner so you can move DeJean out. That's awesome. That's smart. But I don't that Alexander move was like, meh. I don't really think there's much left there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Eagles secondary coach is going to get the rest of that juice out of him that he has. Then that'd be great. It'd be a great move if that happens. I'm just not fully sold on the player anymore because he couldn't play for two organizations for the past 2 years. And then you're going to try to pick him up to be your quarterback two. If he was going to be your cornerback four depth piece, no problem. But he's going to compete for the two or three job. I don't know if he has that left. I guess we'll see.
Well, I mean, the other part too is that you have to think about is how likely are the Seahawks to make a trade, especially after last night? Why would you do that?
Yeah, there's a lot of reports
I
saying that there's a couple guys that's available, and Reek Willen's one of them.
well, I haven't. That's not what I've really read in the reporting. The reporting I've read is that teams want him to be available, and they're pushing to make him available. That's different, right? The Dolphins are having a fire sale. Like, come
Hmm.
get him, come take him. We'll give him to you. Just make it a fair offer. That's not what's happening with the Seahawks. From what the reporting I'm reading is that we're listening, we'll hear you, but we're probably not going to do it. So that means to me that I think you're going to probably spend more than you think you're going to spend. And would I want to spend a second round pick on someone that's not even starting on their own team? Like, there's a reason you're not starting there too. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but they also soured on him as well. And so, like a second round pick, like think about it. The Eagles got Cooper DeJean with a second round pick. Are you going to get a Cooper DeJean with a second round pick trade? I don't think so. Are you going to get Landon Dickerson? Like, I think there's comparable players that you can look at the second round pick value and say, are we going to get someone like this? Okay, no, no, okay. Are we going to get Cam Jurgens? No. Like, that's what the bar would be for me. And I think that's what the Seahawks would ask for. We want a second round pick. I don't think they want a third round pick. I think they want a second.
And I don't think anyone's give them a second, so that's a little too pricey. If that's what they're asking, then I'm with you. There's no way that's happening.
I just, they're not going to ask for a fourth. It's a third or a second. Like, that's what would make the most sense. I just think you can either go for the sure thing or you can gamble on the unsure thing. Um, and I just think I understand what you're saying. The hard part too is the Eagles have a financial dilemma. They have to pay
Mm,
Carter and they're going to have to pay DeJean. They're going to have to
hmm.
pay Quinion Mitchell. They're probably going to pay Reed Blankenship. They're probably going to pay Nolan Smith. Like, not everyone can be a premium player, and it's just not
Hmm.
possible. So, what if Howie, for example, is looking ahead to this next draft, and he knows he would take in the second and third round, and he thinks they'd be better overall than taking someone else with the second round value right now, because there's a lot of to weigh out there. How many years do they have left in their contract? How likely are you to be able to re-sign them? Does this reorganize the priority for how you're going to sign current players you have? Like, I think there's more at play than just simply we need a better person than that. The other part too for this Alexander trade is that there's been reporting acknowledging that the Ravens were reluctant to make this trade, that the Eagles have been reaching out for 3 weeks before the trade happened. So I don't know if that's true. We'll have to kind of
Hmm.
see because that's one of the hard parts with this right now is that um, the Eagles want this to make this look like a good trade, which is understandable. You don't want to make it look like you're desperate. You want to make it look like you're being smart and proactive. And the Ravens want to make it look like we weren't going to be able to get anything out anyway. Let's get at least something in return. So we'll wait and see. I'm not expecting a miracle, but I think that the bar for what a cornerback two needs to do is not nearly as high as cornerback one. Like the getting on the field, the being playable is different. I do get what you're saying, and maybe it is a bad trade. But the part that I like about it is you have option B that you made in this trade market this
Hmm.
middle of the season. You gave yourself a slot option, you gave yourself an outside corner option,
Yep.
and if it doesn't work, no sweat.
Yeah,
Put
you didn't give up
Digit
much.
outside. Yeah, yeah,
Yep. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And hey, there's still 2 days left for the trade deadline, so you never know. They might try and get someone else. Howie Roseman loves the wheel and deal.
yeah. We'll see. I think for the Eagles, it's Jalen Phillips or no one, the defensive end from
Hmm.
Miami. I think that's the
Hmm.
last person that they would consider. But that's the thing too. What if there's a defensive end they look at with the second or third round value right now, and
Yeah.
they would rather spend that there
Yeah.
than
What if they send a two for Hendrickson? Would you like that?
I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't love it.
That's fair. Because that's expensive, but you're still getting probably 1 or 2 years left if you re-sign him of good to elite pass rush. But a two is expensive, so I hear you.
Yeah, I think you could get him for a fourth. Why would you keep him if you're Cincinnati? I think that they'd be more desperate to
Yeah,
get some value.
they keep saying they're not trading him, but maybe that's just talk. And after that tough loss, they probably should be sellers now.
I
So
mean, they're
we'll
they're three
see.
and six. They're
Hmm.
3-6. That could not
Yeah.
really be. It's been a very disappointing year in Cincinnati. Um,
Hmm.
but by the way, shout out to Joe Flacco.
Whew. Whew. Torching people's defenses. Doing all he can, even with an injured shoulder. Hear that,
It's
Carson
pretty
Wentz? I'm
amazing.
just kidding.
Does he have a torn labrum, Andrew?
No, he does not. No, he does not. And that might be a great segue to turn the page over to a game that happened on Sunday at 11 o'clock. It was so I'm going to start with high level, then I'm going to go to each individual section of the Vikings team. So high level, it was a masterful coaching prowess game. They did great. Defense, offense. There were a couple things on both sides, which I'll get to, but overall, masterclass of coaching, getting the team prepared, having them ready to play, saying this is our season. Even if they lost this game, I was telling you halfway through the game, like even if they lose, I love what I'm seeing because they're playing the right way. They're playing like they should have been playing all year. So I'm gonna start with that. Now let's get to all three phases. I want to start with special teams, and I'm going to give you good and bad on all three phases. So to keep it balanced, not to get all, purple Kool-Aid on you, but we're going to keep it balanced. So special teams, Miles Price, he is phenomenal. Oh, wow. I see you just shared something that just happened. Okay, we'll touch on that. You kind of spoken into existence there. But Miles Price was phenomenal on returning kicks. He had 5 kicks for 164 yards, and he got called back on a 99-yard kick return touchdown. It was a beautiful return touchdown, but we got called back for holding. That's the negative piece on Vikings special teams right now is they cannot keep those yellow flags off the field. Every single return, it's almost like book it. It's a flag, flag, flag every single time. And then later on a punt that we kicked out to the Lions, we had that same guy that held on our kick return touchdown get a 15-yard penalty because he stayed out of bounds the whole time. I mean, come on, this is simple stuff. We got to get that under control. Special teams flags have been killing us, but Miles Price has been awesome. He is, and he's an undrafted free agent that we just picked up and started him as a kick returner, and he's been great. And also Levi Drake Rodriguez blocked that field goal attempt, which the broadcasters kept saying it was I think it was Williams. I was like, no, 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 no. Watch it. It hits Drake Rodriguez's arm first, then it bounces off of Williams' arm. So they just make sure you're looking at that broadcasting team. It was Levi Drake Rodriguez. Give him the credit he deserves because you saw him flash against the Eagles. You saw him flash. He is the real deal. He's one of those guys
Mhm.
that eats, breathes, consumes everything football. He is always on the field. There was reports when he got drafted last year. It was 2024. Yeah, last year when he got drafted, where he was always on the field. He was there before the coaches, he was there after the coaches. He is a workhorse. He just always wants to work and get better. And he's on the field a lot now this year. He's the real deal. I love Levi Drake Rodriguez. He's awesome. And post game speech, the coach gave him a game ball and he was emotional in the locker room. Like, this dude knows this. This dude knows what's up. He's awesome. I love Levi Drake Rodriguez, LDR. But special teams played well overall, other than those silly penalties. You got to get that cleaned up. Now, moving on to the defense. Defense, I think this might have been their best outing all year, mainly because they stopped the run. That was unbelievable how well they stopped the run. Dave Montgomery, 11 carries for 40 yards, 3.6 average. That's awesome. His long was only 11. That's awesome. Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 carries, 25 yards, 2.8 average. Long was 7. That's awesome. We held them to 3.3 yards a carry. That's
Mm.
phenomenal. No one's really done that all year, I don't think. I know that was the main point going into this game, stop the run no matter what, and they showed up and they did it. And I think the best part of the defense this game was our linebackers, our inside linebackers, not necessarily the outside linebackers. They played well, but the interior linebackers played a master class game. Blake Cashman, 14 tackles, 6 of those solo, 1 tackle for loss. He was everywhere, flying everywhere. Eric Wilson, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. He was blowing up. I mean, there was one play where he came on a blitz and destroyed Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs had no chance, and then he just eats up Jared Goff for lunch. It was awesome. Even Ivan Pace Jr., who didn't get a lot of stats, he only had 3 tackles, 1 solo, but he was causing havoc the whole time he was in there. He's not playing as much now. It's Eric Wilson who's playing more, which is the right call. But one thing Ivan Pace Jr. does well is go after the quarterback. He's very fast, very dynamic, and he was getting a ton of pressure. The interior linebackers is what I've been saying is the reason why our run defense hasn't been playing well all year. They showed up. I also got to give credit to the D line. There was plenty of times when you see a Jonathan Allen blow up a block, when you see, um, I mean, like I said, Levi Drake Rodriguez played really well. When you see Javon Hargrave, who gets 8 tackles, 1 sack, our D line showed up. Now they're bad. Our secondary still can get a little exposed, which when you're bringing that much heat, it's going to be one-on-one, and it's easy for our offensive players to beat one-on-one coverage. I get it. Like that first drive where Sam Laporta was just getting open and open and open across the middle, and he had like 67 yards on the first drive, which was insane, and that long 40-yard touchdown. I get it. You can get had once you blitz that much, but still, we need to get that tuned up a little bit. Like that can be fixed. And there was one play that I need to bring up that Isaiah Rodgers needs to be taught a little bit. He needs to be taught something to where you need to kind of sell it a little bit. It's just a little sell job because that James Williams touchdown on the sideline, he absolutely got pushed off.
Mm.
Where that was offensive PI, but Isaiah Rodgers is such a competitor that he was fighting through it, trying to get to him. What you kind of could do there is kind of back up and like bounce back a little bit, maybe try to sell that flag because it's hard to see that in real time. Got to give the ref some credit. It's hard to see that, but when you're shown on the Jumbotron, you see James Williams' arms extended out and getting space, and then he makes a great catch. Give him credit. Great catch, great dive for a touchdown. But that was offensive PI if you're going to the rule book. But it's hard to see, and Isaiah Rodgers didn't really sell it. So maybe just sell that a little bit better. And Rodgers, how do you get caught by the kicker on that blocked kick? Come on, bro. You got to get by him. You got to go score. I saw him scoop that up. I was like, all right, that's a touchdown. No one's catching. Oh, the kicker pushed him out of bounds. Come on. You can't let that happen. He is so fast. Come on, you got to score there. And he didn't
Maybe you're
score
just
there.
underestimating that kicker's 40 time, Andrew. Don't hate on kickers.
It's possible. Maybe he's like the fastest player in the whole league. Who knows? But I was like, come on, you can't. And could have been an easy juke to the inside because kickers don't understand how to do jukes. But anyway, he should have scored there. But it was a great scoop. But also on the defense, back to Blake Cashman. I can't forget to mention this, but on Dave Montgomery's 11-yard run, Blake Cashman is coming behind him, pops that ball out. makes that fumble. And then I just love how Harrison Smith recovered it because there's a lot of players in this NFL that just dive on it like desperately out of, emotion, like, I gotta get the ball. And when they dive on it that frantically, it pops up and they don't get it. What Harrison Smith did was he just kind of calmly let it bounce, bounced right up to him. He grabbed it, then he started running. I was like, that's low key brilliant. Because once you start stressing and just dive on it, that ball can easily just pop out on your arms and go the other way, and the offense can get it back. Harrison Smith made sure that just be patient, let it come to me, pick it up, then run the other way. That was great by him and great by Cashman. But overall, the defense played phenomenally. They had 5 sacks on Jared Goff. They were getting pressure on him all game long. And Jared Goff is just a precision. He's a precision passer. He's a machine back there. So him getting 284 yards and 2 touchdowns, that makes sense. Or the secondary is going to get got by him occasionally, but we just got to tighten up a little bit, play a little bit better on that back end, and defense will be fine. Will be really good. 5 sacks, a couple turnovers. That was awesome. Now to the offense. So if you look at these stats by JJ McCarthy, they don't blow you away. 14 completions out of 25 attempts, 143 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, sacked 5 times. Carson Wentz played better than that, honestly, at times. But the difference is his leadership and his energy, his swagger. The team just naturally magnetizes towards him. They just flow to that, and they love it. Um, I gotta give KOC most credit. Then I gotta nitpick a little bit. But if you look at this game, JJ McCarthy, 25 pass attempts, which he got sacked 5 times. I don't think that number is correct. I don't remember him getting sacked 5 times. I thought it was like 2 or 3. There might
Did
have
he
been a
get?
couple times when the snap was bad or where
Mhm.
he didn't try to hand off correctly to the running back and he just kept it and fell down and they counted that as a sack, maybe. But I don't remember 5. I don't know. What are you gonna say?
Did he ever scramble and then go out of bounds?
He scrambled a couple times, and then they might have given him a bad spot where he actually probably gained a yard, but they said he didn't. So I don't know. I, I don't know. That
Yeah,
five
because
sacks seems high. I don't remember seeing 5 sacks.
I really don't like the fact when they're saying that they get the sack if there's a loss of yards on a scramble.
Hmm.
Like that's not a sack to me.
That's
That's not a
rushing.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Anyway,
Yeah, I didn't remember seeing 5 sacks. I remember seeing 2 or 3 where he almost escaped. That's JJ McCarthy's game is he almost escapes sacks, but then he falls over trying to escape. That just happens every game, it seems like. But him throwing 25 pass attempts and combined between Jones and Mason, 19 rush attempts. That's awesome. That's almost 50-50. That's beautiful. And even Jordan Addison had a carry. So that's 25 pass attempts to 20 carries. And I mean, JJ McCarthy had 9 carries as well. So some of those were pass attempts that he just ran himself. But I still think it was a well called game, mostly. There are 2 things I need to touch on before I nitpick on the offense. And then that'll basically be it for this beautiful 27-24 win. Do the refs have it out for Minnesota in the catch rule? Because it's 3 weeks in a row. I mean, the first week, the TJ Hawkinson one, which I was on the record saying I thought that, hey, that looked like the ball moved. I understand why they overturned it.
you're still
But
wrong about that, by the way.
but they overturned it. That's the key point. They called it a touchdown, so it needs to be indisputable evidence to overturn
Mhm.
it. And again, I looked at it, I was like, okay, I can if they called it incomplete, I wouldn't have been upset and then they would have kept it, but they overturned it. So that was like, but looking at that play, it did look like the ball moved a little bit after it hit the ground. So I was like, overall, like, I don't like that they overturned it, but I'm fine. I was fine with that one. The next week, Isaiah Rodgers pick six against the Chargers. He goes to the ground, the ball hits the ground. That ball does not move. I am sorry. That ball does not move. He keeps control the whole time, goes and scores, but they overturn an incomplete pass. And then the Chargers go down and easily score a touchdown. I'm not saying that that would have changed the outcome of the game because Minnesota didn't show up for that game, but momentum is a crazy thing. to go up 7-0, go back on defense, and you can play with your hair on fire going after the quarterback instead of having them run the ball down your throat all game. I don't know. We probably still lost that game, but it probably would have been a 38-7 like it was. It might have been more competitive. And then this week, there are two plays. First, the J.J. McCarthy interception. So I gotta give some truth talk here. J.J. McCarthy was inaccurate on some throws, but he's a rookie, basically. When he's run so far in his career with Minnesota, whenever he's scrambling and running and throwing the ball off the run, he's been a little inaccurate, which is kind of crazy because in college he was the most accurate running pass quarterback in the league in college. But this year he's been a little behind receivers, and so in this play he was scrambling a little bit, and then he sets his feet and he throws it on the other side of the field to Naylor. And Naylor's open. If he leads them, it's an easy pitch and catch, probably like a 30-yard gain. But he threw a little behind him. So it was an accurate pass. So you got to call it like you call it. It was an inaccurate pass. Should have been a little bit better. McCarthy would say that as well. But it's a little bit behind him. But Naylor puts his hands behind himself, grabs the ball, continues running, and then in the process of going to the ground, the corner gets his hand on the ball, and they go to the ground together, and then the corner rips it out after they touch the ground. So they call it an interception. They debate for a little bit and they call it an INT. Well, that's always reviewed. And after you look at it, Naylor has his hand on the ball on his thigh the whole time while they go to the ground, while the DB is grabbing it, trying to rip it out. A tie always goes to the offense. And when you hit the ground, the ball never touched the ground. When you hit the ground, play's over. You're down. That should not have been an interception. That should have been catch down right there because the DB didn't have full control till after they hit the ground. I mean, that's just the rules. And then later on in the game, and this one hits a little personally because I'm in a fantasy league where I am not doing well. I'm the defending champion in my office league, and my team has not done well. I drafted a couple busts, and I've had injuries. It is what it is. But I had the second highest points this week. I'm playing the person with the first highest points. And with this loss, I'm pretty much eliminated from the playoffs. I mean, it was like hang on by just a little bit of hope if I would have won, but I lost. There was a play, and I have Justin Jefferson in this league. There's a pass that McCarthy threw to Jefferson. It's like a 14-yard gain, first down. He dives, he hits the ground, gets back up, gets the first down. They try to run a play before it can get challenged, but they challenge the play. They look at it, and when they're looking at it before they go to commercial, I watch. I was like, oh yeah, easy catch. All right, moving on. They overturned it to an incomplete pass. I was like, are you kidding me? The ball hits the ground with Jefferson, both hands underneath it, both hands and arms underneath the ball, and the ball hit the ground and didn't move, and they called it incomplete. I was like, are you kidding me? What is with the refs and this catch rule just totally giving it to Minnesota this year? 3 weeks in a row, four different plays. It's crazy. It's just crazy. They need to relook at that rule and change something because according to the rule, those are four plays that could have easily gone the other way, but instead they go against Minnesota. It's annoying. And if that Justin Jefferson incomplete pass was called the right way, in my opinion, I beat this guy because I lost by two. I lost by two, and that's a 14-yard completion. That's 2.4 points. I win that game. I win that matchup, and it gives me just a little bit of hope. But instead, they overturn it incomplete, and I lose by two. So that's just a little personal side. Um, and the other gripe I had on this game was KOC needs to learn how to run offense in the red zone. So we were up by 7, ball on the 2-yard line, I believe, first and goal. All right, first play, try to run in the end zone. Awesome. I love that thought. Jordan Mason. And there's only like a little over 3 minutes left. So what are you thinking? You're up by 7, ball at the 2-yard line, 3 minutes left. Milk that clock. Because the worst case scenario, you get a 3, you go up by 2 scores, maybe 2 minutes left, maybe a little bit less. Game's basically over. So they run the ball on first down. He gets down to the 1, doesn't quite get in. All right, awesome. Run the ball 2 more times. But what does KOC do? Second play is a pass, a little out route to Jefferson that is, again, a little behind him. If it was in front of him, it'd have been a very tough catch. I don't think he catches it, but it probably isn't incomplete either, or not picked off. It's probably just incomplete, but it's a little behind him. DB easily knocks it down. All right. No time comes off the clock. Incomplete pass. Third down. Just run it up the middle. Either get a touchdown or at least run some clock. Third down, it's a play actions bootleg with McCarthy. And he sees no one open and he's running. And this one's partly on him. He runs out of bounds. He can't run out of bounds there. Just slide down and let that clock run. But he runs out of bounds. So back to back plays, clock stops. What are we doing? Just run the ball up the middle. Just run it. Who cares if 3 times in a row you don't get in? You burned clock, kick the field goal, go up 10 with like a minute 40 left, game's over. Instead, there's like 3 minutes left and we kick a field goal to go up 10. And then the Lions march down, score a touchdown, and then luckily J.J. McCarthy throws a great pass to Naylor to steal it. But come on, KOC. We got to call better in the red zone. That's my gripe that we have. But overall, great overall team win. No one expected it. Like I told you, this was a probably a very bad week for me in our Pick'ems league because of this game and the Packers game, but I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. Great win by Minnesota. We need to touch on real quickly what you just shared. You just spoke it into existence.
Yeah, I mean, I sure did, Andrew. The Eagles just made a trade, and uh, we'll see how it goes. But they got Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins.
That's
Just
awesome.
completed it as we were broadcasting. So, congrats, Andrew. This is our first breaking news podcast episode that we've
There
ever
you
had.
go. What they give up was like a five or something or a
It was a
four.
third,
It
which
was
is
third.
surprising.
Ooh, that's a little high,
It was like,
but he is young and he is good. So
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I would not have paid that price, but it does justify my theory where the Eagles felt
yeah,
like they had one high pick to trade,
that's fair.
and this is what they decided to go with. And um, it does make sense. The Eagles always prioritize riches in the trenches over riches in the defensive backfield.
Secondary. Yeah.
That's where they feel like that they're going to put their eggs. And so I understand why they're doing it. Um, I think you overall it's when you look at this past week and these trades the Eagles have made, I think you can look at it and you can go and sell the trade because you didn't give up a pick in the other trade or the other two trades. You just traded
Mm-hmm.
position. And that to
Mm-hmm.
me is very different. And so you only gave up one pick outright over this trade market season. Tank Bigsby aside. But the one thing I will say about Tank
Mm-hmm.
Bigsby and Michael Carter is that they will be on the Eagles past this season. So they paid a little bit more for those players to
That's
keep them
true.
past this season. So that will be helpful. But I wonder, this is just me thinking out loud here. Do do the Lions losing and the Packers losing embolden the Eagles to say, we can get the 1 seed, let's go?
I don't know. I think they probably already thought that because they play the Packers and they play the Lions. So
I
just beat
mean,
them and you get the 1 seed.
you do, but I guess this gives you more cushion now, right? Like if you don't
Yeah.
win, I don't know. Like I said,
And
sometimes you get over,
they had to be thinking about this trade like weeks ago. Like, hey,
yeah,
Phillips, let's eye him. And then when I think it was the Dolphins losing so poorly on Thursday night, they're like, all right, now we're going to make this deal. Let's call him up. Let's talk, see what we can get. And it was probably a lot of negotiation because you know how he didn't want to give up a three for him. But the Dolphins probably were stand pat and said, that's the price. And I was like, okay, that's the price.
well, and the other part too is that there were other people competing
That's
for
true.
Phillips. I think there was four teams that were
Hmm.
competing for his. So um, maybe the Eagles just decided to give him the three because the fact they were worried that it was going to get all the way up to a two.
Yeah. And the Lions are probably calling because they have, if they get another guy outside of Hutchinson, that is
Yep.
scurry.
Oh, can I give you a prediction, by the way? I want to give a prediction. I've been
Yeah.
thinking about this. It sounds like Tyler Kraft is out for the year. So you know who the Packers
Unfortunately, yeah.
you know who the Packers should trade for?
Dallas Goddard.
No. Zach Ertz.
Interesting.
That's That's who I would reach out to. Washington is a sinking ship. They're done this year.
Hmm.
It's over. What would it take to get Zach Ertz from Washington? That's the game I'm playing right now if I'm Green Bay. And I think you could get him for a
I
fifth.
hear you. I hear you, but I think they need to go higher than that because Tucker Kraft was their second best offensive player outside of Jacobs. And now you lose that. So you need someone that's going to be almost elite to go along with that because the receiving core just isn't it. And it's been proven year after year after year, and they keep running the same receiving core out there. They drafted Matthew Golden. It was a good try. At least spent a first round pick on him, but he hasn't really panned out so far as well. They need an elite pass catcher, and that's what Tucker Kraft was. So I know Zach Ertz would
I,
help, but I think
mhm.
they need more than that if there's anything available. Like
I
call the
just don't think
Dolphins
there
and try
is.
to get Jalen Waddle. I know Waddle's probably not tradable. Like the Dolphins probably aren't going to ship him out, but at least call him and see if you can say, "Hey, we'll give you a three for Waddle," and see what they say.
I
Because
mean,
Waddle on
but
that
they
team would be really good.
Waddle's not going for a three. He's going for a
Probably
two
not.
plus.
Yeah,
Probably a first round pick. And so the problem I have with that scenario is you already traded for Micah Parsons. You gave up two firsts.
it's true.
Like, you really going to go back and trade a second? I think if they traded a second, they could pry Waddle away. Um, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that
Yeah,
I think the Packers will stand. I do think they trade for Zach Ertz. I mean, I'm just saying. You think about it. What other tight ends out there that would be available for like a fifth? I think Zach Ertz will become available. I think Zach Ertz would like that. This team's clearly taking. Please take me on. Put me on a team that's going to compete for a Super
hmm
Bowl. That's what I want to do. I mean, he signed with the Lions after the Cardinals released him that one year to potentially play in the Super Bowl. It didn't work out. The Lions lost. Um, he went to Washington because he thought they could be a competitor, and they
hmm
were. He went to the NFC Championship game with them. He wants to compete. So I think that I don't know. Just watch for the next 24 hours, Andrew. I feel it in my bones that I might be right about this one.
Okay.
So we'll
Okay,
see.
I mean, we'll get to it, but you had a lot of great calls on this week's NFL games. You didn't pick the right winner, so to speak, but you had some concerns. You were saying this could happen. They're on upset alert, all that stuff, and you were 100% right. Got to give you credit. So maybe your sensors are going off the right way. I just would think that, man, I would want more than just Zach Ertz. I know Zach Ertz is a good player. He's still got
Mhm.
1 or 2 years left in the tank, but man, Tucker Kraft has been your best option for the pass game. And they need something to supplement that because I don't think it's coming from these receivers.
Well, there's only one other team, and I don't think they'll do it. Kyle Pitts. That's the only other person that makes sense. And why would you trade for him? I just he's probably going to be a third. I think here's the thing. If you've already traded a first, I think you could talk yourself into saying, okay, we could give up a third because there's a round in between. We're still getting some value up top. But,
Hmm.
Waddle, you're definitely trading a second, maybe more. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you want to do that after you just made a huge trade for Micah Parsons. But
Yeah.
I guess I could see Kyle Pitts. That one's risky too, though. He's never played up to the level he should have. Zach Ertz, you know what you're getting. You're getting someone that's 500 yards a year, maybe five touchdowns. Um, like that's a solid replacement for Kraft. Like they don't have anybody right now. No one.
I mean, probably the better idea is just to get a new quarterback because their quarterback's not very good. Throw in a
Keeping
ball across the field in the end zone where there's no receivers in the area for an interception in the end zone. That's just something that Jordan Love loves to do.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's fair, but I did want to say, Andrew, Aaron Jones had a great game yesterday.
Did.
Had almost 100 yards total between
Hmm.
catching and running.
He
So
did. He
good
did
for
hurt his
him.
shoulder, but it sounds like it's not anything long term or anything serious. He has a shot at playing next week. So he's older, he's injury prone, happens. That's why we pick up a Jordan Mason. But it
Hmm.
sounds like it should be okay. And then get into the trade deadline here briefly. I said last week, Vikings most likely lose. They should be sellers. They should be shipping off like a TJ Hawkinson or maybe even talking about Brian O'Neill because he's getting a little older. You can get probably a three for him or something like that. See what you can
Hmm.
get. They won and they looked good. They have some issues they got to fix, of course, but they won. They have some energy back. They have some confidence. They have some belief. I think they need to see if there is anything they can get in this trade deadline. I'm not saying go all in like send a first off to get like a stud corner. I'm not saying that. I'm saying see what's out there. See what's out there. It would make sense for us to try to get a Reek Woolen if we can get him for a three, because we're getting a third back in the comp pick for Sam Darnold. So just make some calls, see what you can do. What we need is another corner because we have two that play constantly, and that's it. We need a third corner. That's the need. Probably could use safety help if it's available. I don't think that is, but if there's something, we can use something there because our safeties have been fine, not great. There's a sneaky one that a guy I listened to, shout out to Purple for the Win podcast. There's a sneaky one that I'm thinking, that's interesting. I don't think it's going to happen, but what if Minnesota traded for another running back? I don't hate that idea because Aaron Jones, they love him, but he's getting hurt. Things happen. Um, I don't know. Could we send like a fourth round pick or a third round pick for a running back? He brought up Brees Hall and Devon Achane. That's not happening. Those guys are going to cost too much, and we don't need to ship off twos for those guys. But Jones could be our third running back, and then we can have a 1-2 punch with Jordan Mason and someone else. That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. Um, we still possibly could sell a couple pieces. Like we have some defensive linemen because we have just a stock full of D linemen that are really good. We could still possibly think about shipping off TJ Hawkinson. If we can get a three for him, I would accept that right now. If someone offers a third round pick for TJ Hawkinson, I would accept it. I know he's a good pass catcher still, and he got in the end zone this week, but his contract is insane next couple of years. We're going to have to restructure that sucker. But if we can get a three for him, we don't have to worry about that. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. But that thought of trying to get a running back is interesting to me. I don't know who else would be out there that'd be available other than Devon Achane and Brees Hall, which those are too expensive. But I think overall Minnesota should make some calls, see what's out there, see what they can do. Maybe they can get a couple little pieces here and there. I don't know. There could be some improvement. And with this big win, this season's not over. They have a shot, especially with the Packers losing as well. They're right there in the division, and they're 2-0 in division, both road games too. That's something not a lot of people are thinking about. 2-0 in division, both on the road. So they got the Lions at home again. They got the Bears at home after this week, and then they have two games against the Packers coming up. Packers look like they can get got. Jordan Love plays really good sometimes, and sometimes there's that Panthers game. So I think Minnesota should look what they can get, be buyers at the deadline.
Sorry, Andrew. Had to. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Sorry. Had to go take care of my
you're
girl real
good.
quick. We're good. We're good.
You're good.
Okay.
I kind of talked for a little bit, so I kind of was silent for like 5 seconds. So you got back at the right time.
Um, so being a parent never stops. Had to go
Hmm.
take care of something real quick. Um, but yeah, I mean that's interesting as far as that you bring up the idea about running back. Um,
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen because the team KOC loves Aaron Jones. He loves him. He's a great locker room guy, great leader. So I mean, we're not shipping him off for sure. We're just going to let him kind of in his contract. But to make him the three and to pick up someone else to be your 1-2 punch, Jordan Mason, because Aaron Jones is just he still has some left in the tank. He showed it this game, but he just gets hurt a lot. And there are some plays like that pass play, which was a beautiful concept, where Aaron Jones is on the right side of JJ McCarthy, then he runs behind him to the left side, and McCarthy hits him in stride, and he has no one around him, and he runs for like 30 yards. It's a great play call, but if you watched, it didn't look smooth running. It looked like Aaron Jones didn't couldn't really get to that next gear. He was running like at 75% speed, and that was the best he could do. It just didn't look like he was getting to that final fifth gear and running as fast as you can. It was just kind of average. It's because he's a little older. He doesn't have that speed anymore. If that was like, I don't know, a faster running back, like if that was a Jameer Gibbs on that play, he probably scores because it was so well designed. But he just got caught by the safeties because he wasn't running that fast. So, I mean, if by some crazy way we send like a second round pick for Devon Achane, don't think it's going to happen because why would the Dolphins trade Devon Achane? That was the pick that the guy was talking about, podcast I listened to. But if that happened, I'd be like, okay, I like it.
Hmm.
It's expensive, but to have that 1-2 punch of Devon Achane and Jordan Mason, whew, good luck defenses stopping that. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're trading for a running back.
How long is Mason under contract for?
I think we re-signed him for 2 more years.
Okay, because
We
you
traded for
have
him, then we re-signed him.
an Aaron Jones. I think isn't he on another 2-year deal with the?
He's on another 2 year deal technically, but next year I don't think there's really any guarantees. So he could be cut and on last minute cuts, or he could retire possibly. I think this is like his only guaranteed year.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, I mean, I think that the Vikings are more likely to be interested in being buyers because of how things
Yeah,
played out yesterday.
yeah. And I have to say a couple more things on that. I would hope they're making calls. I would still say probably nothing's going to happen. I think they're probably going to stand pat. If they were like 6-2 and it's looking really good, oh yeah, they'd be buyers. But at 4-4, there's hope, but it's not like, oh, we have a shot at this. It's like maybe let's make some calls, see what's up. But the other thing is, I don't really trust Quasey and his draft prowess. So if he's trading away all, because look at his first draft, Lewis C and Andrew Booth Jr. both busts. First round pick, second round pick. And you can go up and down the list. Dallas Turner, he traded up for in last year's draft to go pick up. He hasn't really shown a lot yet. I'm not out on Dallas Turner yet, but it says something whenever Andrew Van Ginkel comes back and he's healthy and Turner gets like 13 snaps. He's your
Hmm.
first round pick. I know our D line's playing well and Grenard and Van Ginkel are hard to get off the field, but if you're good, you earn snaps. And he hasn't really earned them. He's still young. He was only like 22 when we drafted him, so not out on him yet, but that's kind of like it's a yellow flag like, okay,
Hmm.
what's going on there? Is there anything there or not? And you traded up. You traded a second and a fourth to move up 7 spots to pick him up. I don't know. Quasey's drafting has not been good. So if we're trading like a second round pick for a known commodity, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I do like those trade options for the Vikings, and um, you got to be emboldened by the fact that you beat the Lions, especially
Yeah,
since
at Detroit.
I just want to double check here.
JJ McCarthy is
Yeah,
undefeated in the state of Michigan.
and you're undefeated in your division, which
Yep.
that's the most important. You're undefeated in your division, and the Tucker Craft injury. I mean, man, that's
Yep.
could
Yep.
not
And we
have
got a game
happened.
up with the Lions now. We got them at
Yeah.
home coming up. So you advantage us for that at least.
Well, yeah, I just think it's going to be so interesting because, man, the Packers have a tough stretch. I mean, you've got the Eagles next week, and
Mm-hmm.
newsflash, I think you know who I'm picking, Andrew. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got the Vikings in 2 weeks from now if you're the Packers. Then you got the Lions. Then you got the Bears. Then you got the Broncos. Then you got the Bears. Then you got the Ravens are probably going to be a good team by the time that they face them.
And then you
Man,
end at Minnesota.
brutal. It's a brutal stretch for the Packers.
Hmm.
Um, oh man, but yeah, you guys got the Ravens next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Little spoiler alert for our episode that we're recording tomorrow, probably, with our picks. Um, I kind of feel like that game is disadvantaged Minnesota because we had such an emotional high for this game that it's just natural to not be up as much for the next game. And the Ravens are coming off their mini bye. It's just a scheduling difficulty. So it's at Minnesota though. There's hope. It should be a good game, but little little disadvantage being this emotional high and this tough game. We pulled out to win, but a lot of times that happens. I'm looking at the Packers. They pulled out an emotional win against the Steelers, showing up your old quarterback, and then they put a goose egg out there against the Panthers because the next week they play the Eagles. So it was a great call on you. This was a total trap game, and I
Well, I
feel
mean,
like that Minnesota might be feeling that a little bit.
to be fair, I mean, it is a trap game, but I think it's just time to give respect to the Panthers. They're
It's
not the
fair.
washed up team they used to be anymore. And
Hmm.
I've mentioned that multiple times on our podcast, Andrew, that I feel like they're not the washed up team they used to be. I mean, they're 5-4. They're 5-4,
Yep.
and
And Dowdle was looking like the next coming of Emmitt Smith.
which is terrible news. I hate this. Get Chuba Hubbard back in the lineup, please.
Hey! Your fantasy team did okay this week. No complaints. No complaints. We'll get into that, but no complaints.
Andrew, I'm Howie Roseman. I can see the weakness at running back, and it's going to cost me a championship. I am desperate as the trade deadline approaches that I can make a move.
And I need a Monday night miracle. I'm in a tough battle. I knew I would be. I'm projected to pull it out, but we're recording this before the Javonte Williams game, so I need him to get me 15 points. That's not low, but that's not high. So I didn't get two touchdowns or like 100 total yards and a touchdown, something. I need him to have a good game.
Well, we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a good one. But oh, also, I mean, real quick, Andrew, you gave me a lot of flack for another pick that I made last week, and that pick turned out to be right.
Which one?
The Buffalo Bills game.
Oh, well, I gave you flack for your confidence level of 10.
Uh,
I only gave it a 2 for the Chiefs, only because the Chiefs were playing better. I didn't, it wasn't, I wasn't like shocked that the Bills won. I was shocked at how high confidence you had.
I
But
mean,
it turned out right. And Patrick Mahomes, he had one of his worst games of his career. He had under 50% passing completions. I don't think you saw that happening. I didn't think the Bills defense were going to be able to smother him like that. Josh Allen and the offense moved the ball. That's one thing, but their defense was a surprise. They played really well.
do you think that means that Josh Allen, or not Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes is out on the MVP race?
For now, he should be definitely. If he turns things around and they end up getting the one seed in their, well, not the one seed, but they end up winning their division somehow, which is kind of unlikely now. But if they turn it around and they win the division, he's back in that race. But for now, I agree. He should not be in that MVP consideration. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league, of course, but as far as this season, and we'll touch on it in a later episode, but Daniel Jones is probably out in that race because he had like 6 turnovers, which that's again on that fantasy team I had that's losing by 2 points right now. Daniel Jones is my starting quarterback, and he had 6 turnovers. I mean, and I'm losing by two. That's saying something. One of those turnovers didn't happen, I win. I'm just saying. Just gripe fest for me.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, man. I don't know. I think like Goff did have a bad day, but tough loss to the Vikings. Jones, Mahomes.
Drake May didn't
Um,
look great. They won, but he didn't look great.
well, speaking of, looking great, Matthew Stafford. Um,
He's put his name in that MVP race card. He is there now. 5 touchdowns last or the week that they were overseas. Now 4 touchdowns this week. He is in that conversation.
I really did feel like he was washed up, but
Me too, especially with that back injury.
I own that. I own that because that was totally on me. I thought he had nothing left, but he looked great. I mean, 140.8 passer rating.
Hmm.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Hmm.
So I need everyone, Andrew, in the MVP race to take a dip. Jalen Hurts needs to score like 5 touchdowns in Monday Night Football so that way he can finally be up in his rightful place of number one in the MVP
Well,
race.
hey, what better time than on national TV against the Packers than to put your MVP candidate game in there? This is the time. This is on Jalen Hurts.
Hmm.
He needs to show up and show out. If he does that, he's in that contention for sure. If he has an average game, he's not, even though he probably should be. But if it's only an average game, he probably won't be.
What about comeback player of the year? Do you think that JJ McCarthy, if he can lead his team to the playoffs, do you think he's in
That
line
is
for
a
that?
very interesting thought. That's a very interesting thought. Um, I'd have to really think about the rest of who's in that category. But if McCarthy does, because he is such an emotional guy, he gets a lot of attention. If he continues to win, like eke out some games, it's not going to be pretty. But if he continues to get W's and Minnesota's like in playoff contention, maybe making the playoffs, I can definitely see it. I can definitely see it. I don't know if it's going to happen because I'm still not completely on board on them making the playoffs because they have a tough schedule. But if it happens, then yeah, he's got to be in at least top three consideration for comeback player of the year.
Hmm, interesting. I really don't even know. I just don't know who I'd give the award to if it was not him. Like I joked
Yeah,
about it in our group chat about how I'd give it to Joe Flacco again,
again,
and I
yeah.
I wouldn't even blink. I mean, this is impressive,
Hmm.
man, to do this
Hmm.
again. Um, I'm gonna stand by it, Andrew. He's the best quarterback of the AFC North of the 2000s of the AFC North. What he's doing is unprecedented.
Hmm.
Three different teams he's balled out. I just don't
Hmm.
know any other AFC North quarterback that could say that. I mean, you could go with Ben Roethlisberger, but I, I just think what Joe Flacco is doing is more special in terms of regular season success. I mean, this
Hmm.
is this is incredible. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe he falls off the rail. Maybe he just
yeah.
totally goes off sideways.
And the Bears defense isn't horrible. I mean, it's
No.
not great, but it's not bad. It's average. It's an average defense. It's fine.
Yeah.
But man, he put up some numbers. Almost got a W too.
Well, it's just that defense. That defense
Yep.
is so bad.
Yep.
I mean, that's got to be like one of the top five worst defenses in the NFL right now.
And it could be like in the history of ever.
It's just, yeah, man. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, but props to the Bears, by the way. They pulled out a tough win,
Yep. Got to give him credit. Credit's due for sure.
but I know we'll dig more into stuff like that tomorrow. But this is a crazy week, man. Lots of
Hmm.
lots of things did not expect. Props to your Vikings. We'll see what's going to happen for my
Yep.
Eagles. I
JJ McCarthy.
really, really need. Oh, by the way, Broncos wearing a Broncos shirt today in honor of Ashton Genty having a pretty good game yesterday. This is not in honor of the
Yeah.
Broncos who had a horrible game on Saturday, and I went to in person, and
Oh
they
no.
lost so bad. It was like 30-7. Yeah, it was awful.
Oh. Oh,
But
well,
hey,
hopefully
Ashton
better
Genty
days are
did
ahead.
great. Yes.
Yes. Yes, he did. And that game was insane in itself. It was like 6-3 at half, and all of a sudden there's like 70 points scored. It was insane.
Yeah, that was another crazy game.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's all I had.
Yep, same for me. Excited to do our picks tomorrow. It'll be fun.
Hmm. Yep. I haven't
So,
dug into them all the way yet, but I'll do that today. We'll see how that goes. Again, I am totally happy I had a bad week this week, but we'll get back on track next week. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us in this episode of the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Be sure to like and subscribe, give us a comment, all that good stuff. We will see you next time.
we'll see everybody.